Hello, my fellow chatterers and library lovers, and anyone else who's popped in because you're curious or you're lost. If you're not up for a bookshelf tour today, though, you might want to not watch this video because that is what we are doing, which is why I am a faceless voice today, but I still have my tiny teacup because it is all going to be one shot, no editing. So cheers! Let's enjoy the shelf tour. So I'm just going to be doing my upstairs shelves today because I know myself, and I'm going to try and make this video as short as possible, which is very hard for me. Chatty by name, chatty by nature. It is what I do. So I'm basically just playing around. These are all the shelves that are in my bedroom. So they belong to me and my husband, and we have divided them up between us. So the one that I'm featuring here is my fantasy shelf. One of my many fantasy shelf. It is mainly adult fantasy, but I have got these two middle grades at the front because they are beautiful. And then this is my pretty shelf. And then over here we have my children's and YA fantasy, plus a little sci-fi section in there. And then here, apart from those two fantasy books by V. Schwab, this is my everything that's not fantasy shelf. So I have historical fiction, I have thrillers, I have contemporaries, and they're all adult. I have some middle grade contemporaries, and I think there's some YA contemporaries on this shelf, but I don't have a huge amount of those. So these are all the shelves in my bedroom, apart from this little messy corner down here near my window and my chair. This is where I do like to read my books, although I will of course read everywhere. So this is, if you've heard me bang on about my seasonal shelf, this is my seasonal shelf. It is supposed to just be one. It's not supposed to be double booked. Ta-da! The magic of pause. So this is the shelf I kind of laid out for what I call the signs of spring season. So I changed this over from winter magic end of March, beginning of April, and then this lasts about 3 months. So it's April, May, June. So at the end of June, I'm going to be redoing all of my bookshelves. So all of this will be coming off. I'll get new books on this shelf. And then I'll be rearranging all my other shelves. So like every 3 months, I sort of do a rotation, mainly because I enjoy it. It gives me, my books are also like my art. I like to rearrange them, bring new ones to the front, try different ways of organizing. It gives me a lot of joy. So the seasonal shelf is just to kind of highlight books to me over the 3 months that I may or may not pick from. So I tend to have series that I intend to read. I am reading the Chorus of Dragons series. I intended to be reading the Arc of a Scythe, but I have not got very far. This one is actually not part of the seasonal shelf. I just am reading it, and I have a gap because I've moved Memory of Souls out. So A Conjuring of Light is in there too because I am finishing this that trilogy this month. I then have a few books in here that I sort of a random selection of ones I kind of wanted to get to over the spring. I have got a mixture of just the compilation of Nella Larson because I really wanted to read it, and I'm very excited to read Passing, which I haven't yet. These two, The Secret Life of Bees and False Colours, are both on my I want to reread list, which is a video I did in January before I started BookTube, because I just used to make videos and just because I found it fun, in the thought that I would do BookTube someday. And I was going to publish them, but obviously I had technical problems, so I now can't because they are slippy and sloppy and highly need editing. They're not a one shot, so I can't publish them. So I may do a redo, kind of just to update at the end of June about what all that is. Anyway, haven't got to either of them. I have the two Rainbow Grey books, which are beautiful. You will have seen these if you've been watching my other videos. You will have seen these feature a lot, because I have read both of them in the last couple of months. These are the Waterstones special editions. So when they first came out, Waterstones printed them with these beautiful sprayed edges. So the first Rainbow Grey has the rainbow, and the second Rainbow Grey has the Cloud Cat Nim on the edges. And, you know, it's weather, it felt spring-like, and I really wanted to get to them, so they came on the shelf. Nature of Witches is on my... Sorry, I need to burp. Pardon me. Nature of Witches is on my books I've never read that I want to read this year. I chose 5 standalones and a series for both reread and never read but want to read, to just kind of highlight them and encourage me to get to them. And I feel because it's seasonal, this can fit any season, but I went with spring. And no, I have not read it, but obviously we need to take off the jacket. If anyone has shown you what is under here, first of all, we've got these lovely lilac end pages, which you cannot see on the camera, but then you have these beautiful butterflies and plants just all over the naked hardcover there. I am really excited to read this book. It just hasn't worked into my plans at the moment because there are so many. And this is kind of an epic love story I put on here because I wanted some more contemporary. It felt like a summery, spring-like one. And I have read this. This was chosen for my spa weekend. Hollypocks is another book I wanted to finish. Another series I wanted to finish. Not got to that yet. And The Opposite of Butterfly Hunting is also a very beautiful book, which I'll get out. It's really stunning on that dust jacket. And this is a memoir, but obviously because of all those butterflies and plants, it felt very spring. And these end pages are gorgeous. So there we go. So that is my seasonal shelf, which I change every 3 months. But I also tend to put books on my TBR there as well. So I have started like thoroughly committing to a TBR over the last couple of months, whereas before it was kind of more of a pile of possibilities, so I wasn't worrying too much about it. But now we have it. So here we go. We have Oathbringer is also on there. So is A Memory of Souls. The True Queen, I cannot believe I have not yet read. I really want to, but many other commitments. Hoping to maybe read Percy Jackson. It is on my TBR, so it's kind of important. Still have not read Ink Death. I love these old UK hardbacks. I did search for this one. It hasn't got it is just printed onto the hardcover, which is really cool. But it didn't have the dust jacket. But I really love those versions. Yes, that's another series that I want to finish that I haven't yet. This is on my June TBR, The Weather Witch. And Sherlock Holmes is another book that is on my never read, but I want to read this year list. And it's so beautiful. It is a, what's it called? Does it tell me? Let's pause and I'll see if I can find out. Yes, it is a Chiltern classic. That was the word I was struggling for. The pages feel beautiful. They're kind of like this shiny feel to them, and they've got gold edging, and it's a very sort of weighty book, but it just feels really nice. So my plan was to just read sort of like a couple of stories every month, and that just hasn't happened either because I decided to commit to a gazillion readathons, so that got pushed to the back. I also have from the library A Court of Mist and Fury. This does need to go back soon. Haven't even started it, hoping I can renew it because that is one of the series that I have started reading. It just kind of lives up here at the moment. It's tucked in there. And it's part of my 35 books for 7 years of popular fantasy according to Goodreads that I'm trying to work through. So this just kind of sits by my bed. I do have these little board books of Guess How Much I Love You because I love that book. So I have the seasons, and I tend to have which season it is at the top just because it pleases me. Then we have a messy scary shelf down here with some little copies of Winnie the Pooh, which are just really cute little bits. They've just taken some quotes out of Winnie the Pooh, accompanied them with illustrations, such as we've just randomly here, "It is always wise to apologise." "Oh," said Pooh, and scrambled up as quickly as he could. "Did I fall on you, Piglet?" "You fell on me," said Piglet, feeling himself all over. "I didn't mean to," said Pooh sorrowfully. I didn't mean to be underneath," said Piglet sadly. "But I'm all right now, Pooh, and I am so glad it was you." I just love them. They just make me smile. So that was a present from my mum. Yeah, and then just a couple of illustrated books here. We have The Story of Babushka, which is a story of the Russian dolls So each of the Russian dolls inside have a different personality, and together they make the complete set. And it's a really lovely illustrated story, and I love it a lot. And I also have this picture book, which is very dusty. Excuse me. Really don't dust a lot. Which is a children's picture book that I have loved from my childhood and I absolutely adore. It's The 4 Seasons of Bramley Hedge by Jill Barkum. I love the Bramley Hedge books. I think the illustrations are amazing. So we have autumn, spring, winter, and summer, and they are just so beautiful. They're lovely, sweet stories. The illustrations are amazing. It's a lot of kind of like hedgerow recipes. They preserve things, they make things. The mice are a lovely, cute community. They live in trees. It's gorgeous. And here I have my notebook that I sometimes do readathon bits in. And stuff I need to give back to a friend. Bits that won't fit on a shelf. The stories for boys. Stories for Boys Who Dare to Be Different, which is a book with lots of different people that don't conform to what the stereotypical view of masculinity is. And I do want to start reading a few bits and pieces from that. But at the moment, so many books on the go, not going to happen yet. All the books I need to take back to a library, hoping to keep on hold of those for a little bit longer. My tiny teacups live in here. And books that I have borrowed from people, again, haven't got around to because both of these are starting a series. And some more books that I've borrowed from people that just live in there. And here I've got some more notebooks and things. My pot of bookmarks. And up on the shelf we have books that was either intending to read, am reading, or I'm going to be reading soon. So I'm currently reading The Ship of Magic. And I am also currently reading She Who Became the Sun, and Edge Dancer I'm going to be reading. No, I've also started Edge Dancer, so I've got 3 books on the go. This is probably not going to be read. This book here is the first time I'm going to be mentioning it, but I'm going to be mentioning it a lot more. A Rabble of Drabbles and Doodles by Wen Clark. This is a collection, as it says here, a collection of original drawings and short stories. So it's lots of little bits of writing that have been pulled together by inspiration from a word, and the same word has been used to draw a picture. So it's Wen Clark collaborating with local artists and making this book, and this book is raising money to enable their friend to be able to afford the chair that they need. So I'm going to be talking a lot more about that later, but this is on my shelf because I'm dipping in and out of it, and then I hope to do a proper full review after I've kind of read it more all in one go. And Bloody Brilliant Women, I started reading, and then because my TBRs got so big, I just haven't picked up again, so also in the middle of that. So back onto the mainly adult fantasy shelf. From last year, John Gwynne became one of my new favourite authors. I really enjoyed Shadow of the Gods. This has just come out. I haven't read it. I'm hoping to reread this one and read this one maybe around kind of September, October time, where it feels really autumnal and cozy, and I'm so excited. They are epic fantasy with a Nordic feel. This one followed 3 characters. I think we get more viewpoints in this one. But yeah, lots of running around with shields about to fight, and porridge. Lots of porridge. Then I have The Faithful and the Fallen Quartet, which I have read and adore. The world building, the characters, just absolutely love that series. It's amazing. And then here are some of my Terry Pratchett's, but I'll get them all out for you. Here they are. I have these beautiful editions here, and this is all the Witches series within Discworld in chronological order. I didn't display them in chronological order because I wanted the purple spines and the white cover to go with the other white covers, but when I have them all side by side, I do tend to display them in chronological order. So Terry Pratchett's Discworld is incredibly funny. A lot of it is a mirror to our world. This series, The Witches, tends to be kind of like the most folklory and kind of fairy tale-esque. I love The Witches. They're amazing. The 3 characters are incredible. Equal Rights feels a little bit like a draft version. It's still a brilliant story, but Granny Weatherwax isn't fully Granny Weatherwax until this book, when Pratchett kind of realised exactly what he wanted from her. And in this one, she has a coven. So there's the 3 of them, the mother, the maiden, and the other one. And some of these have a little bit of a parody of other stories. So this one is Macbeth. This one has links to Can You Guess from the Pumpkin, Cinderella, and other fairy tales. This has got more kind of like elven lore in this one, and there's a bit of a Morris dancing style of things. Phantom of the Opera and Dracula. And I love them all. One of my favourite series, fantastic, had the best time rereading it last year. Hidden at the back, not currently being displayed, is the last 2 books in the Tiffany Aching series, the We Free Men. So this is book 5, The Shepherd's Crown, and I Shall Wear Midnight, which is book 4. I love these illustrations. It's Paul Kidby. I love his Discworld art. And this is the one, well, I think there's a few others actually. This is one of the YA series within Discworld. I think, was it Maurice and His Rodents also counts? Anyway, it's really good to read after The Witches. I have the other ones downstairs with the rest of my Terry Pratchett collection. I was just basically trying to find space for everything to go. And then we move on to Sanderson. So these are my UK paperback editions of the Stormlight Archive, but I also have the novella from the Mistborn series, The Secret Mistborn History, which in terms of chronological order comes at the end of Era 1 in terms of publication order, and there's a slight spoiler for what is book 3 in Era 2. It kind of comes at the end there, so you can read it either way, but I prefer the end of Era 2, book 3, which is the Bands of Mourning. So then, yep, you have this is the book that I read from for the first time with the Stormlight Archives. We have The Way of Kings, Words of Radiance, Oathbringer, and then my recently acquired Dawn Shard, which is a novella, and The Emperor's Soul, which is a novella from the world that Atlantis is set in. And I really love this cover. I think it's a really beautiful edition. And behind them, I will get those 2 hidden books out as well. These are the incredibly gorgeous Fool's Assassin and Fool's Quest in the new covers in hardback by Robin Hobb, which is the final series in the realm of the Elderlings. I've not got that yet. I've only just started the 2nd series, which is the Live Ship Traders. But my friend Dave, because we all have a friend called Dave, mine reads fantasy, he managed to find all of his Robin Hobb books from charity shops. Is running out of space on his shelf. So said, would I like to have them, provided he could borrow them whenever he wants to? And I said, of course. They are incredible. I now am on a mission to find the last one, also in hardback. And as I said earlier, A Pinch of Magic and A Sprinkle of Sorcery by Michelle Harrison are middle grade fantasy. I have not read them yet. This is a series I'm highly anticipating. I've heard amazing things about it, particularly from Verdania Silverscribe, and I can't wait to read it. But in the meantime, I'm just admiring the beauty of their covers and just having them facing outwards amidst the sort of white and purpliness that this shelf gives off. Guys, we are already on 19 minutes and I've still got 3 more shelves to do, and these 2 are double booked. So I'm actually going to do this in 3 parts, maybe 4. So this is the first instalment of the Bookshelf Tour, and I will be back with the next one. So goodbye, happy reading, and I hope you enjoyed seeing a little glimpse into my library so far. Happy reading, everyone.